We're done. Lauren, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Victor, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Father God in heaven, we thank you for this cold that we're enduring right now. We thank you for the lives that are here. We thank you for the quorum that you've allowed to be here tonight. Holy Spirit, we welcome you here to help guide us and point us in the right direction. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Need a roll call, please?
Counselor Howard,
Here.
Counselor Lorenz,
Here.
Counselor Watson,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Segola,
Here,
Mayor Becker,
Here.
the quorum is declared.
Do we have any modifications to the agenda?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay, approval of consent agenda, minutes of regular meeting from January 2nd, 2025, and review and approval of accounts payable.
Don't move.
second,
Been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda for the minutes of regular meeting from January 2nd, 2025. Review and approval of accounts payable. Is there any discussion? Unita?
Counselor Howard,
Yes.
Counselor Lorenz.
Yes.
Counselor Watson.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segola.
Aye.
Mayor Becker,
Aye.
motion carries to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, we'll go to citizen comments and special presentations. Citizen comments, city council welcomes your unscheduled comments. Limit your comment to 3 minutes and council will not take action at the same meeting. Welcome our county commissioners, Gene Glover and Tyler Ratzlaff. Thanks for being here tonight. All right, we'll go to scheduled appearances. In order to be on this portion of the agenda, you have to fill out the appropriate paperwork with the city clerk no later than noon on Monday prior to the meeting. So go with awarding bid for the Monte Vista Golf Course building. Who's doing?
Welcome, or I guess I'm not welcome. Thank you, Counselor.
Welcome, Tyler.
Forget what I got on here. We did. Well, thank you for letting us present. In your packet, I hope you see a letter that from Jake, who's president of the golf board. And the city, through its procedure, put out a bid proposal for building the new building, which is the thing in front of you. And there was one bid, and that was a collaboration for this citizen-led project. It's in collaboration with the city, and it was a group of various contractors throughout the primarily the Monte Vista area, but there's a Alamosa person in there. But their bid is estimated at $711,195. They're proposing that they will do estimated cash cost of $527 and $135.
$727,000.
Thanks. And $184,060 of in kind, which is about a little over 25% of the total project, what they're estimating the cost to be. What we have as far as cash raised is, thank you to the commissioners, they contributed $140,000. The city has put in 45. The golf board, through donations and fundraisers, has raised a little under 101,000, and grants that have been approved and actually we have in hand is 72,000. So we actually have in cash of about 360,000 roughly. And then there's reimbursement grants approved from the Rio Grande Tourism Board and DOLA for $372,000 for a total of cash of $729,870. We have one grant yet to submit an application, and we haven't done that because they are working on a new software package. And it's not up and running, and once they have that up and running, we have an invitation to submit grant to them for $62,000. So the reason you see phase 1 and phase 2 combined is because some of that funds above has been sent to do the design and engineering work, like down here. So you kind of have to look at the picture as a total. But right now, with this bid package, there is sufficient cash on hand to build the building and move forward. And then there's a couple items that we're working on with the city as far as engineering the new sewer line. And it's proposed that through these funds that has been raised, that this group would pay the engineering for that, part of that piece of the puzzle. And then we've got a couple other phases in phase 3 to take care of.
I just wanted to say that, we've been working on this for, about 5 years now. It was pretty stagnant for a while, and Carla came in and with all her knowledge and help has really helped push it forward. I think you can see by, the in-kind, there's a lot of community people that are for this, donating a lot of time, money, effort to see that this happens. In the bid package of how many contractors is that listed? There's 8 different contractors and they all have in kind in their bids, if you look through the bid package. Can't say all. Actually, Skyline Metal is the one that isn't. Any questions from any council?
When's the project gonna start?
As soon as weather and we get approval. Everything has been approved through Randy, as far as permits, as the blueprints are right now. But we actually, have had a meeting and decided that we are gonna change the blueprints very slightly. And so we will have to resubmit those to Randy. I've talked to Randy, it shouldn't be a big deal. It's basically, I thought, and I'm ignorant to this, in building that you could just put an outlet here, or if you needed it, once the building's up. And we can't do that. Every outlet, everything has to be on there. So there's a few things, little things that we need to put a sink. It's designed on one side of the wall. It needs to go on the other side of the wall. I thought you could just move it. Can't do that. So just little things that we gotta, so we'll have to do that. I meet actually with the architect, which is Spencer, tomorrow. We'll redo that and he'll resubmit to Randy. So maybe 3 weeks. At that time, Marshall Matthias is the one that will be doing the dirt work and preparing the footprint, and he's ready to go whenever we can. He feels that the ground is ready or he can. I'm not real sure as far as frost and all that, how that works, or pouring concrete with that. So our timeline, did you give the timeline?
That one.
There is a timeline in there. That's kind of very rough timeline, but we hope to be done by October 1st.
And that's allowing for weather and then supply issues with materials, in case there's anything. We tried to build that in.
Yes. The one that has the little X is on. Like. Yeah, it is on.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to thank the golf board. I've been attending their building meetings and, they've been very tenacious. And I think that the amount of funds that they have raised is a real demonstration of the commitment behind it. Carla has been a real solid piece of this as far as the continuing, okay, where's the next grant? What else can we apply for? And we're excited to be a partner with them. As you know, it'll be a city asset once it's built. And I'm proud of you guys.
And Gigi's been very good with us too, helping us with that. Like I said, it was pretty stalled till Gigi and Carla kind of came in, and then we really have whipped for it in the last year, I would say. Kind of, I guess, we haven't really told you the building itself. I think the commissioners have met with them and they kind of know we'll have an area that is for community. I think max capacity is 150 people, so not a huge meeting area or whatever, but can have a birthday party, whatever. We have room, or we're in the design, there's 3 bays for 3 simulators, golf simulators. Big thing right now, golf's the fastest growing in pickleball in the world of sports. But I don't know, I'm a golfer, so I watch it, but TGL, Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy just started TGL 2 weeks ago, and it's all simulator golf. It's a new thing on the professional level, so it's something that the golfers can do during the winter. So we hope to have people, kids and adults alike, can come in. We hope to have winter leagues in there with the simulators, or people can rent it for birthday parties, play on the simulators, whatever with that. That's kind of our vision for the whole building. The backside of the building is new cart storage. Our cart storage is literally falling down on our carts. So that's what the back of the building is for.
So they're here to recommend the bid, and you guys need to vote to accept the bid so they can move forward.
I just don't even know how to motion it. Who are we awarding the bid to?
The contractor friends of the golf course.
Is that how we stated?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion for the awarding of the bid of the Monte Vista Golf Course building to the, what'd you say again?
Contractor friends of the Monte Vista Golf Course.
To the contractor friends of the Monte Vista Golf Course.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to award the bid to the friends of the Monte Vista Golf Course. Is there any more discussion? Unita?
Counselor Howard,
Yes.
Counselor Lorenz,
Yes.
Counselor Watson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Segola,
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to award the bid for the golf course building to contractor friends of the Monte Vista Golf House.
I was just gonna say that James Pacheco is gonna be listed as the general. Just a little history too, that this project reminds me a lot of, has a lot of similarities to when we first started renovating Sky High. The north side bucking chutes and the old grandstands, that was totally done with in kind from the community. And this project here has a lot of the same similarities as far as the community coming together to make start happening.
The other thing I would kind of want to say, from a golf course standpoint, I think a lot of people have misconception that the club don't have to be a member to come play. Anybody can come play. Anybody can come. Yes, it may cost you, but anybody can come play on the simulator. Anybody can come play the golf course. You don't have to be anything special or anything. And so I think that's something that we need to get out there more, that, you know, you can come out and try it. You may not like it, you may get frustrated, but anybody can play the golf course here in Monte.
When has the golf for not been frustrated?
Yeah. My says I pay to go be frustrated. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Carla. Appreciate all the work that went into that
Yes.
from the golf course and this community and Carla going to that meeting and
Right. Probably go all the way to Ray for a grant meeting for us, so.
okay, we will move on to discussion on railroad crossing closures. Rob Vance.
Good evening, council. How are you? With the holidays and everything, all of our discussions with the closures of Faraday and Franklin had kind of stopped and stalled, but with the new year, we resumed those. So a couple of updates since the last time we addressed council. The PUC did approve both of those closures. They were issued on September 26, 2024, their final statement, and on both of the proceedings, they felt that as a matter of public safety, that the abolishment of those two crossings was in the best interest of the community. So They approved both of them, and I have copies if council wants to see them. We also have held a couple of meetings with the railroad folks to talk about part of this deal of closing these roads are, the railroad's gonna help us upgrade a couple of our crossings. One there at Jefferson and the other one on North Adams. So North Adams, if you've driven it, kind of need a high clearance vehicle to get across it, so. So we're in the stages of negotiations, trying to figure out how we're gonna do this and get it done. So for council, we've got two crossing, basic, quotes. One is for a wood crossing. It is, section, planks, wood planks that are added to it. Those come in at just at $3,000, so $2,995 a piece. And that's the entire crossing. Or we have also requested concrete ones. And those come in at $12,740 a crossing. On Jefferson, there are actually two crossings. There's the main track, and then there's the sideline track that goes up to where they do the packing. So there's two there, and then North Washington's is one. On North Adams, there's one crossing, and they're gonna remove the old bridge and take that out in those tracks. So, we don't need anything tonight. We, city, DJ, Gigi and myself are still negotiating. I just wanted you guys to know, and really just a head nod, that you're still favorable for us moving forward with those two closures.
Is the railroad gonna fund any of them crossings?
They're gonna do all of the labor. Our requirement is to purchase the materials. And these are the quotes that we have for the materials. They're doing all the labor and supplying all the beams, the ballast, the rail, the spikes, everything that goes into the installation. We are either literally buying the wood or the concrete. At this time, my recommendation is the concrete. I just think in the life of those crossings, to have a concrete that I can actually bring the asphalt up and butt square up against will definitely help us in the long run. I know they're more expensive, about 4 times, but I think in the life of that crossing, I think they will definitely pay for themselves in 40 years. So that would be my goal, is that we don't have to go back and touch those other than some asphalt patch for the next 20 to 40 years. Not doing anything with the rail crossing. And as council knows, both of those crossings, especially the Jefferson, have been notorious for rail derailments. All right, any questions? Thank you, council.
Thank you, Rob. All right. We'll go on to license liquor renewals. In council to conduct these actions, capacity of the local license authority. Public hearing for the new beer and wine license for Family Dollar under 25509, located at 1369 Highway 160, Monte, Colorado. Dean and Rita, take this.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll go ahead and call a public hearing at this time for Family Dollar Stores of Colorado. Time is now approximately 6:15. It's, day of January 2025. And the record should reflect that a quorum of the city council is present. City council acts as the local liquor licensing authority in this capacity, and this is a petition which is dated January 10th, 2024, for a beer and wine license. We've been joined by Anybody from Family Dollar Store? Jim?
Hello, Tommy Jackson here on behalf of Family Dollar. I'm not sure what's going on with my camera. I apologize.
And what's your position, sir?
Excuse me.
What is your position with Family Dollar?
I'm a consultant working with Family Dollar to help them obtain their beer and wine license in your town. Yes, sir.
So in other words, you're the circulator of the petition
Yes, sir.
for that. Who do we have from Family Dollar itself? There's no one present from Family Dollar? Okay, before we get into the meat of this petition, I'd really like to hear from the city clerk on what the status is of the petition itself and any possible deficiencies that we're looking at there. Nita?
Good evening, council. So we started this process back in March of 2024. And we've been back and forth several times to get a completed application with the Family Dollar Store. I have been working with Decisions Consulting, a lady by the name of Elena. Her and I have been emailing back and forth. I've been emailing back and forth with our city attorney to get a completed application. We finally got a completed application and it was submitted in August completely. We were gonna do the hearing in November. It did not get posted in the paper, so we pushed it through the holidays and now it's before you today. I do have a few concerns with this liquor license. When I took the sign to the store to post for the public hearing, none of the employees were aware of this happening at their store. I did contact Elaine with Decisions Consulting, and I told her that to me, it raised a red flag. And if you'd like, I can read you the email that I sent her. I just stated to her that wanted to let her know that we are ready for the public hearing for the beer and wine liquor license on the 16th. Please find the Zoom invite attached. Please also make sure that all persons that will be giving testimony will be in attendance. Please let me know if you have any questions. One last thing I thought you should know. When I went to the store to post the sign for the public hearing, none of the employees were aware of this taking place. This to me raises a red flag. There is no communication with the employees that will be responsible for making sure that the liquor is being stored, managed, and sold properly. To me, this is an issue with the selling of the liquor in the store. In your packet, if you go to the map where it shows where the liquor will be stored, when you walk into the front doors of the dollar store or Family Dollar, and you walk into the right-hand side of the store, that's where they intend to store the beer in the cooler there. And then they intend to put the wine on a end cap. If they have done their research and with the Division of Liquor Enforcement, they do not want wine on an end cap. That is a bigger high priority of theft when wine is on an end cap in a store. So they would prefer the wine to be in an aisle versus on an end cap. I did bring that to Elaine's attention. My response from her was, thank you for that. I will let the employees know ASAP. That was the only response I got when I sent that email. My opinion is the city clerk and the holder of liquor license. At this point in time, I would recommend not approving a liquor license until there's a better communication policy, until we know who is going to be in charge of storing and in charge of where the liquor is going to be stored. making sure that there's somebody always up front to maintain and watch that liquor coming in and out of the store.
So, so the concern here is we don't see anybody from Family Dollar present, especially the person who would be managing the store. I believe there's no one here that does that. Is that correct? And there's no one on Zoom that is the manager. So we don't have the person responsible for the administration of the liquor sales present at this meeting. And apparently that person whoever it is, has not been told to be present at this meeting. We don't have any employees present at this meeting. We have a diagram of where the liquor is to be stored, which is very close to the entrance to the store. And not in accordance with the guidelines of Liquor Enforcement Division. Question's been raised as to how well manned the central counter is there all the time to prevent persons from just simply taking the liquor. And I don't know that we have any correspondence that shows that the liquor coolers are locked at this point. Now, in addition, I noticed from the circulator standpoint that there is a letter dated January the 4th, 2023, that says a petition was circulated to determine the needs of the neighborhood and desires of the inhabitants and so forth, and gives the results of that. That was, and the names and dates on the petition are dated in December of 23. Whereas the letter states that it's January of 23. Now, under these circumstances, I'd have to ask the circulator whether, and I suppose that the circulator is the person responsible for proceeding with this application. Under these circumstances, do you want to proceed at this point with those questions out there? Or do you want to try to continue this hearing until a date when some of these questions and deficiencies apparently can be rectified? Because if you want to continue and this hearing and the council denies this particular license, I think you've got a 2-year period before which you can reapply. So under those circumstances, do you want to continue, or do you want to request a continuance perhaps for several months where you can deal with these issues?
Yes, we will request a continuance to make sure that we can answer the questions that the clerk has, and we will make sure that those things are clearly stated and understood. So yes, we will take the continuance.
Okay, I'd strongly suggest that you have the person before the council who's going to be responsible for this so that appropriate questions can be answered by him.
Okay, that will work.
Okay. The city clerk will find an appropriate date and notify you of when you could be back on the agenda. And I don't know how long it would take you to deal with these issues that were brought up tonight, but it probably would take a few months anyway.
Okay, that makes sense. What we'll do, I will take note. I will be in contact with the clerk to make sure that we know exactly what it is that we'll need to get so that the clerk is comfortable with the license. We'll be sure to make sure that gets done.
Okay, as far as the hearing officer is concerned, he would recommend that the applicant be allowed to continue his hearing and correct some noted deficiencies if he's serious about getting his license. With that, we'll go ahead and close this portion of the hearing.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I suppose the action of the council would be to direct the clerk to make contact with Family Dollar and see how much time they need to correct these deficiencies that we noted tonight, and then set a new hearing date.
So direct. So directed. So you're directed. Okay, resolution. Resolution 2025-02, adopting the 2025 employee handbook. Shannon? I know you were speaking.
So you read it.
Oh, I read this?
Yeah.
No, the handbook.
I'm trying to say a lot.
It's only 25 pages.
Do I really read the entire thing?
Yeah, but
Forgive
go
me
ahead.
for my,
But first go over the highlights. We had a work session
okay,
on. And then at the end, you will ask council. If you may read the resolution and ask for their approval.
okay.
Sorry. We didn't. discuss that
Obviously, I
earlier.
have not done this before, so forgive me. Yeah, so I'm bringing you tonight the final revised copy of the employee handbook, which has, as you know, has taken the better part of 2024 to complete. But I'm really happy to say that it is done. It has been reviewed by Employers Council several times. It has been reviewed by our city attorney, Jean, several times to make sure that we are meeting all regulations and laws. Since this has not been done since 2009, it was very outdated. And as I'm sure you're all aware, being business owners and lots of laws continually change, especially with regard to employment. So it needed to happen. That being said, I do have to give a thank you on the record to Judy, who started this process. She really kind of handed me something that a lot was already done. So I'm very grateful for her to have done that. That being said, like Gigi said, I'm just going to point out a couple of key things. Directors, you all have been part of work sessions, so I'm pretty confident that you're very familiar with the context of the employee handbook. So first thing you're going to note, if you're familiar with the last version, is that this one is completely reorganized. I think it's better to follow. It's easier to read. Everything related in a group everything relatable has been grouped together. So for example, compensation is all under one section. Employment, disciplinary actions are all under their each section. So it's easier to follow. Another thing that is very noticeable, I feel, is anything procedural that was in the previous handbook has been removed because it doesn't belong in an employee handbook. It belongs in something like a supervisor manual. There are legal reasons for this. And so things like the drug and alcohol policy in great mass, it was like 4 or 5 pages of the old handbook, has been completely removed. The only thing in this handbook is language that needs to be in the handbook. Everything procedural has been removed, and a standalone policy that will be given out at the same time as the handbook, and every employee will be required to acknowledge it. But things like that have been removed, so it's not as concerning, if you will, as the previous version. With regard to compliance, the Healthy Family Workers Act, or our sick leave, has been updated to be compliant. The last handbook, again, was totally out of compliance. So that's been updated. And then finally, which I think is the biggest update for most people, is our vacation. So historically, the city has provided 30 hours of PTO
to employees. So any new employee was front loaded through 30 hours of PTO. And then for employees who have been here for a while, they were used to every single year at the beginning of the year, that 30 hours of PTO being provided at the beginning of the year. So we've done away with that. Sounds bad, but it's not. We've taken those 30 hours and we've attached it to the vacation accruals. So we've just made it one bank. We've also added an additional 30 hours, so 60 hours total to the vacation accruals, which makes us more in alignment and competitive with surrounding municipalities, which is something that needed to be done. So that being said, for example, your first year of employment with the city of Monte Vista, you would have started with 40 hours annual vacation, and that's been bumped to 100 hours. So it just kind of goes through those groups, and every group has been increased by 60 hours. With that 60-hour increase, we've also increased the cap. So the amount or maximum of vacation accruals that you can have went from 140 to 140 to 240 hours. So
160 to 240.
correct. Sorry, I was reading the wrong way. So 160 to 240 hours, which again is pretty significant. Making sure that we are competitive with surrounding communities. Those were the major key points in the handbook. So if you have any questions, I guess now would be the time before I read this resolution.
Any comments from the city manager?
No, we've spent a lot of hours working on this, and I'm really pleased with the document. And as Shannon stated, it flows much easier. It's all in the same font. It looks more professional. You know, things that, I don't know how things were changed in the past, but it was just thrown in there. So I like it. I think it's feasible, and we'll be meeting them with our department heads to make sure that they understand the changes.
Read away, young lady.
All right. Resolution 2025-02. Excuse me. A resolution approving an amending of the City of Monte Vista's employee handbook. Whereas an employee handbook is a booklet that documents the legal obligations of an employer, the rights of an employee, contains important information on policies and procedures, and details what employees need to know about their workplace expectations. And whereas employment law is an ever-changing area, so it is important to update the employee handbook every couple of years. And whereas the city of Monte Vista has not had an updated employee handbook since 2009, with a section update in 2001. And whereas city manager, human resources director, and the finance director have reviewed the previous handbook and have developed a revised, reworked employee handbook. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Monte Vista that the attached employee handbook is hereby adopted, replacing all previous employee handbooks and amendments issued prior to the date of this edition, and will take effect as of January 1st, 2025.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-02 adopting the 2025 employee handbook.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2025-02 adopting the 2025 employee handbook. Is there any more discussion?
I notice in the packet, it says resolution 2022-2.
Yeah, that's a typo that needs to be corrected. Because this is the year 2025.
I thought so.
It's a fat finger. Just a fat finger.
That's fine.
It is right above the two. I mean, I can see it.
That was all.
All right, Anita?
Counselor Howard,
Yes.
Counselor Lorenz.
Yes.
Counselor Watson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala.
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve resolution 2025-02, adopting the 2025 employee handbook.
Thank you. So now I give it to them.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank
I
you.
know you enjoy standing up there and talking.
It's obvious, isn't it?
Well, we will move on to staff proposals, reports, and actions. We will start with recreation. Durban Dunk.
So, good evening, everyone. Appreciate you guys having me here tonight. I don't have to referee. So that's a whole lot of running. I'm gonna be in great shape. Recreation though, for us, we had the CPW class for hunter safety, and that at Sky High, it went awesome. As well as the concealed carry class last month, and then we continue to have those on a monthly basis. We also have basketball going on right now that's going awesome. We have 7 teams in the league, not the most by far of anyone, and there's 10 kids on every team, so we could have actually done 2 more teams for each of our age groups, but chose not to, not so. And we had a food giveaway. We had a special visitor that came out and visited us. Thank you, Mayor, for coming out and helping. That was awesome. He was carrying bags out. He was bags of potatoes, bags of hams and that to folks' cars, their groceries and that. So that was awesome. We were also given between recreation and the police department to give to our participants in that. We're also given 26 $50 top value gift cards now to give out to our participants that we think would need that and could use it. So it was awesome. So that's all for recreation. Any questions?
How much gravy did you give out?
Pardon me?
How much gravy did you give out?
Oh, I forgot your. Next month. I want you to know, this man was gonna buy you big old 5-pound cans of gravy. So, thank you. I totally spaced it out, but I will put it in my notes.
I reminded you too before I left that day.
You did, and that was a month ago, so, I'm old and. Any questions on recreation? Thank you.
Thank you, Durbin. Kids Connection.
Good evening. We're on to a new year. And kiddos are really wild from having a lot of freedom during Christmas break. So we're trying to rein them back in and understand how you lose so much structure in just a few short weeks, but we'll get there. Christmas break averaged about 25 kids per day. And it kept staff really busy. It was really cold most mornings, so we couldn't get outside too much. We tried to spend as much time outside in the afternoon as possible. Just did lots of craft projects. So the building had lots of pictures all over it. And then staff came back in right before kids went back to school and got it cleaned up and ready for a new beginning. We ended out 2024. I sent out some letters to local businesses as a last minute request for end of year donations. And I think that we're still receiving donations that are coming in from those letters, and I think we received a little over $18,000 in donations from from local businesses and then other organizations that just decided to make end of year donations to Kids Connection. So that was exciting, getting phone calls and emails saying, hey, let another check in. We applied in October, I believe it was. We applied for a grant through Caring for Colorado and received notice in December that we're moving on to part 2. We requested 2 years of funding from them, totaling $60,000 for the 2 years, so $30,000 each year. We move on to part 2, so I have another grant submission that is due February 6th, and keeping my fingers crossed, we move on to part 3, which will be a site visit. I've applied for a Caring for Colorado grant twice before, and we got turned down and didn't make it to part 2. So we've come a long way with the words on a piece of paper and convincing people to help us out, and our kids are worth it. So I'm really excited about that. I submitted another round of funding through Alcott Foundation, another grant through Alcott Foundation. They've been a big funder and supporter of Kids Connection for many years. And we did receive word that we received another round of 2-year funding, totaling $50,000 each year, so a total of $100,000 over the next 2 years from Alcott. I also applied for an additional funding request through them for staff costs to be earmarked specifically for staffing costs. I haven't received word if we have officially received that yet, but fingers crossed we'll receive that. And then there's another little, I'm just talking about money because that's all that's been coming our way since the end of the year, which is really exciting because it doesn't happen a lot throughout the year. And then her kiddos came back to school on the 7th. We were back full swing Monday through Thursday and full day Fridays. And next Monday, we actually, on the 20th, we have a full-time AmeriCorps member joining us. Her name is Hannah. And Jesse and I sat down and really thought about how Hannah could help us improve what we are currently offering our kiddos. And so we're tasking her with a community outreach program to get professionals in the building to teach our kids about all the possibilities that are within our community that they could kind of look forward to. And I think that's about it. Oh, there's another portion of that. We're trying to come up with some like smart revenue ideas for Kids Connection, something that isn't going to take a lot of manpower or a lot of work, but will make a small dent in funding. So hopefully the next time I'm here, we've come up with some cool idea and I will be able to share that with you. I do want to share a plaque that we received for last year. It actually just came in 2 weeks ago, and it is from the Transition Interagency Group Envisioning the Realization of Self. An acronym is TIGERS. And we received this because we worked with DVR, Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. And this, we employed a staff member last summer who is a young adult with disabilities. And so she came in and DVR paid for her to be with us. So essentially she was a volunteer, but we got her some real life work experience after she graduated high school from Monte Vista High School. She did some volunteer work while she was at the high school with us. But we helped her make it through the summer and got her some good job skills and hopefully helped her understand what it's like to be in the workforce. So we received this plaque, and it just says Transition Interagency Group Envisioning the Realization of Self Awards to Monte Vista Kids Connection in recognition and appreciation for cultivating the lives of youth with disabilities. So we hope to partner with them again in the future if they have anybody that is looking at working with children. So we will see what happens. If you have any questions for me, that's all I've got for you right now.
Thank you. Do you think there's any chance of pulling off that big tournament?
Yeah, that's still on the radar. I've been floating a bunch of ideas around. I was actually just talking to my husband last night. He was like, well, whatever happened to that poker tournament? I was like, it takes a lot of work, and just trying to find somebody that can manage the tournament, because I can't. I was not even able to deal the cards. I fold under that kind of pressure, and I'm like, I can't do it. But it's still on the list of things to figure out how we can make it happen. So if you have any ideas, shoot them my way and we can get it figured out. Yeah.
There's gotta be some old poker players in college deal for us.
Yeah, people I hang out with are just a little too young. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Stephanie, Sky High.
Good evening, council. As usual, I'll start you out with some numbers. Right now, we are on track to end January with 74 events. As of right now, we already have 52 events booked in February. And we already have 278 events booked for the 2025 year. We ended 2024 with 523. So we're in January and we already have half of what we booked last year. That's a little scary, but we'll get there. And we've already officially, as of this week, started to book in 2026. So don't you worry, we'll get there. Tomorrow is the last of a 4-day training that our police department brought in. Well, if you walk into the room, it's a little spooky. This training is on the Mexican cartels and the narco culture. And so they have many displays of all the saints that the cartels worship, and it gets a little creepy in there. But it's great information, and the police have been having a great time with it. So tomorrow's the last day with them. I think they had somewhere around 42 participants. It was a free program that the police department brought in, so the officers didn't have to pay to attend this training. There is officers from all over the state and a handful of officers that are out of state as well. So it brought in some community members to come down. We are in full swing to get the ag conference going. Again, mark your calendars, February 4th through the 6th. And then we quickly follow that up with the Elementary Ag Fest, where we have 300-ish screaming children that get to learn about the agricultural industry. So that is February 11th through the 13th. The only other thing I'm doing right now, besides all those events, is working on my end of the year statistical report for 2024. And I'm hopeful that I can get that to you guys next month.
Who's in charge of the Ag Fest?
The CSU Extension Office, Cody Groff.
I'm gonna sign you up, Jason.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. City Attorney.
No.
Planning. Oh, planning. I'm sorry, DJ.
I gotta go home.
We listen to you all the time, so.
Okay, so a lot and not a lot since the last time we chatted. It's been kind of short with the holidays and stuff. So right now we're working on a lot of requests for proposals for services and equipment to fulfill the needs of the grants that we were given over the last few months. So a lot of writing and stuff going through, trying to get a lot of those done. And we're meeting with all the grantors constantly to make sure that all of our grant agreements are done. I did not realize when you get a Department of Transportation grant, you write your own grant agreement. So I've had to learn how to do that. And so doing a lot of things like that and a lot of due diligence to make sure that things that we're doing are compliant, not only with grants, but with everything else. A lot of due diligence, making sure that we're not violating statute or law or grant guidelines or any of those little things as we move through these processes. We've got a lot of moving parts and sometimes some things get lost in minutia, and we want to make sure that we don't put the city in a bad place as we go through and do these. So after 2 years of work and a lot of work by my new assistant, Michelle, we finally got all of the historical files scanned, loaded into this computer. They're not all organized yet. We're working on getting them all put in the right order. But when I inherited the job, there was somewhere around between 8 and 12 banker boxes full of documents going back to the early 1900s. And those are all scanned and historical documents, are getting put into Laserfiche, which is it's a storage place. So we don't have to maintain paper documents. So it'll make a lot of research easier. It'll prevent mistakes and things from happening in the future as we move forward on some land use stuff. So we've gotten all that stuff done. The URA has some initial designs for the 4 properties that they own to put homes on. So they got the initial designs. Right now they're working with Chaffa, meeting with Kayla Romero to try to get another grant to do a limited housing needs analysis to determine what the best style of house is going to be for that property. Those properties could be single family, some of them can be duplexes, fourplexes. So we just want to make sure we get the proper houses in the right place. So just trying to do our due diligence on that. They have decided to continue to do research and pursue a tax increment financing district. And that process is gonna take a little bit of time on the URA side. We have to collaborate with the county assessor. We need to do a little bit of research. So we're working with Downtown Colorado Inc. to make sure that we're, again, making sure we're doing all the things in the right step. This is something that if we can get to the agreement, it'll last for 25 years. So we don't want to mess it up. We want it done right the first time without any issues. So just making sure we're doing all that stuff. So that's been pretty much my month of reading and writing, and that's really all I've got to do, except for a couple of meetings. Anything from you guys?
You sent out a notice?
Yes, I did. We'll be retracting it. So that public hearing will be canceled. Again, doing due diligence and making sure that we have everything correct. And we don't put the city in a bad place. So we'll be retracting that. I'll put out the notice on Monday to the paper. We'll put on the city webpage and on the front of the building. So.
I appreciate your attention to the detail you've been working on, BJ. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll do the signature. Gene used to bring a stack of books, now you've got a briefcase.
That's just for my exercise. Well, I'll make this pretty quick tonight. There was no municipal court prior to this session. It's not until next week, so I'll report on what happened there at the next session. Most of my time, to be honest with you, has been consumed on the issues which are the subject of the executive session tonight. All I can say at this point is I think we're seeing light at the end of the tunnel and getting to the end game on where we are on that. And I think that'll become evident at that particular point. We were working on the review of the previous and revised document of employee handbook and worked with Shannon on that. And we were, as she's done that now, and she did a good job on that. We're at the end game on that and wrapping that up with the resolution tonight of them. And so I'm glad to say that we finished that. Still working on revisions to the land use code, and this involves more than just item by item proposed revisions, and involves some major review of the integration of the code and the usability of the entire document. This is the largest document that we really have in the city, and it's the most fertile ground also for litigation. So we want to try to get this right. Most I can say at this point, it's still a work in progress. I was just speaking with Gigi on a question along that line of the Board of Adjustment, and she's going to prod this a little bit with, we only got 2 members, I think, and we need 5 on that. We've been pretty lucky, actually, that we haven't had a request for variance during the last few months, but obviously we're going to have, so that needs to become a priority of getting those members on board with the Board of Adjustment. With that, anybody got any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gene. City manager review.
Senorita posted.
Back to my normal size. Well, I'm really excited that Commissioner Glover and Commissioner Ratzliff is here today so they can hear me give them praise. The county generously gave every employee one of their 150-year anniversary commemorative coins. And so they were handed out at our employee luncheon in December, and everyone was very pleased. And so thank you. It's very generous. And how much are these to the public?
So it's like $70 or something like that.
Okay. In case anyone asks, and I think I've just got 2
We've got more.
let-
I'm trying to hold myself for $7, we bring it in a box.
Okay, well, we could certainly help sell them for you if anyone would ask. We could even put it probably on one of our water billings. We can add memos and we can say that they're
We can
available.
just add it to the bill and send them a coin. I'm just kidding. Yeah.
This week was the consolidated and the Lariat ditch water meetings. So I attended both of those and the shares are all staying the same. There wasn't any real questions or issues. I brought up with the Lariat wanting to do better weed control. And so Rob and I will be discussing that on our Monday meeting, but it's always an opportunity. The city, I checked with Jeff Williamson, and our augmentation plan is just about ready to go. The Prairie Ditch had a question or a concern, and so they didn't approve it at the January meeting. So Jeff is meeting with their water attorney and writing up a little addendum that they think will correct it. And so they hope to, they'll vote on it in February, and so hopefully we can hear back very soon and get that going. Jean told me today that that's been a 10-year court process, so it's been a long time. The Upper Rio Grande Economic Development Council has been in flux these last 6 months or so. We had a part-time executive director that resigned, and she actually officed here in the city hall. And so we're looking at some other options. We sent out a notice to the paying members, city being one of them, that we were not going to be billing and collecting dues. We have a pretty good balance, and so we're trying to decide if we go forth and kind of dissolve, and if we dissolve, how can those funds be used that we already have? And so we met with the tourism board this last week, the Rio Grande Tourism Board, and we haven't talked to the commissioners yet, but one thought is if those funds could potentially be used to put a ballot measure on that would ask the voters for a marketing tax, and that tax would only be applied to those that are paying for lodging. So the hotels, the RVs, rental spaces, and the VRBOs. So we're exploring this. We've had lots of questions, lots of meetings, and we'll keep you updated on how that proceeds. And then this year, must be, oh yeah, it's next year, 2026. History Colorado will be 150 years old. And so History Colorado had a meeting this week that I attended, and they're trying to identify at least 10 additional historical sites that are located within the San Luis Valley. So the meeting was more of a, hey, does anybody have any ideas? We all threw out ideas. They'll take them back and do the history behind it and decide what would be included, because they want to designate 150 additional historical sites for the 150th anniversary. So that was kind of interesting. Any questions?
Did you hear anything from Matt with Cleve in regards to our CDPHE?
Yes, so Senator Simpson and Representative Martinez both met with CDPHE on Tuesday. And CDPHE said that they agreed that the communication had not been as strong with the city as it could have been. And they are going to try to do better. But we really aren't moving very quickly to finding a resolution on getting that permit issued. They're behind, they're backlogged. Rob and I had a meeting this morning with our engineers because they're trying to explore other venues of what we can do. I don't know if we've said this out loud yet, but the plant itself, we've been told and we've been telling you for the last 3 years, it's $30 million, $30 million, $30 million. Well, the bid came in at estimated bid at 48 million. So Rob and Bobby have been scrubbing through the numbers, got it down to 42 million. That's still a giant leap. So we're working with USDA Rural Development. They're trying to help find some additional grant dollars. And everybody's looking. So it's just a real uphill climb right now. Do you have anything you want to add, Rob?
We're still looking at cutting. My goal is to get it as close to that 30 million mark as we possibly can. And then we'll be taking some of the items out.
Is that gonna interfere with any future growth, taking some of the items out?
No. The treatment will remain. Some of the options that we're taking or considering taking out would be the removal of biosolids. The rule says you must do something, but it doesn't give you a yearly thing until the processing of the biosolids are done, and then you have 2 years. For the lagoons, it's going to take several years for those biosolids to dry out. You know, they'll dry out 1 year, we'll have to go in with the excavator, flip them all, let them dry out another year, and just keep doing that until they're all dry and ready for land applying. And then there is a local farmer down here that does take land applied biosolids. So once we have it and have it tested that it meets his requirements, then we can start looking at that. So that can be, 5 to 7, 10 years from now, from the completion of the plan. So that's about another $9 million savings there. We're looking at taking out the building and going with a lesser designed building, maybe in addition to the existing lab that we have. So, and that's roughly another month. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there without damaging the core of what needs to happen first.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gigi. Yeah. Council committee, city commission, and council reports. Council Watson?
Stay warm. It's gonna get cold. About all I got.
Council Lowry?
Need snow.
Yes.
Skiing?
Yeah. The hills need snow. Right?
Council Lorenz? Mayor Pro Tem Segala?
Just one thing. I'm kind of curious how old the signs are right here across the street, right in the alley. There's like the Rotary, I think, and
Here, decades.
yeah, like,
They have not been updated in decades.
is it the clubs that would update those?
Day one?
Victor, we can reach out to those organizations and have them take a look at their signs and even make sure that the information is accurate.
Yeah, I know like the one that says like 21 years or something, and that's like how old already?
Yeah. Well, and where is Rotary meeting now?
At Eduardo's right now, movie manor.
Yeah, and so like example, that sign still says Dos Rios.
Reach out.
Yeah. And then we had some vandalism at Full and Wider Park with our Christmas lights. So we've put up a $250 reward for information, and at least with the comments on Facebook have been very supportive of the city and the lights and trying to catch the bad people, so.
One last thing on that. So I have a resident over here who doesn't get out much. but her family came in, picked her up and took her to Mountain View. She said that on the way back, she was just driving to Monte Vista. She's like, she found love with the lights. She's like, it's so beautiful. So
I'll show you all. I won't show the public. I'll show you all what Rob and I are working on for this next year.
All right.
All right. Because
Like the Griswolds.
yeah, because right now they're on sale.
Doesn't say everything's on clearance.
And I've got fundraising letters out, so it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I noticed that there's been citizens that are willing to add to the reward money too.
So maybe we'll catch the person, persons, whoever.
I had a gentleman from, I believe he's from Moffett. I was talking to one day and he asked me before Christmas if we were gonna have the displays up. And I said, oh yeah, Monty will be up and we'll have more lights. And I am quite certain that he drove all the way down here just to go right through and see the Christmas lights. People know we're here. I really don't have much other than, keep an eye on James. I know we got an influx of police officers in town right now, but there's still stuff going on, so please do not hesitate to call it in. With that, I will tell you Monty's strong. And now we will be going into executive session, so may I please get a
Motion to go into executive session.
Yeah, think we gotta read it out. This is one we have to read out.
Okay. Thanks, Commissioner.
That's fine. Go ahead, Brad.
Want to make a motion to go into executive session for a conference with the city attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions under CRS section 24-6-4024B and for discussion of specialized details of security arrangements or investigations under CRS section 24-6-402 regarding administrative matters within the city.
Second. Counselor, so I might just clarify for the council too, that involves claims within the police department, because you have to be somewhat specific about the reason for the executive session. Okay.
Ready to take that? No.
You need to